Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. We're going to get some questions answered today. And these are things that I've pondered about for quite some time. And I'm sure when you hear this word, you've thought of the same kinds of things. But we're probably not thinking the right thing when it comes to this word. I'm talking about voodoo. And she is a woman. She's actually a priestess. And she has the Voodoo Spiritual Temple in New Orleans. I was going to say Louisiana. No, that's New Orleans, Louisiana. And she's back with us. Priestess Miriam is on the program. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm great. And you?
Very well. Very well. So we started talking about what voodoo means. And of course, it conjures up the image of, voodoo dolls and spells and negativity. But it's not all that. There's a lot more to that word, right?
Yes. And well, I would say that the word could be all of what has been said, but it doesn't have any connected structure of substance besides what someone advocates in the negative. And so, and therefore, it always leaves a question. If a thing always is assimilated in the negative without any other reflection besides what people give. And I often think about the tour guides, and many people talk about a word in the abstract, but when it comes to the real structure or substance of it, it does open up for questions. So, but according to, I relate back to 1999, I was asleep, and somehow it came in my vision or sleep vision that the word voodoo, it could be like a collected order of matter. Matter is a formation that makes all things compliable. That is congealed in a pragmatic function or formation. And so if a thing isn't organized in some created formation, it still will leave a question because it's scattered. And so as we would think matter, if we don't pull the collected ideas of the stars in some structure, we'll just be saying, oh my God, is that Venus over there? Look over there. It's like, so then therefore, when a thing is put into a pragmatic formation, then you get more of a created resource. You get something that is more tangible to work with, that can create a service toward humanity and the community. And so, and therefore, it produces something that can transform in a physical reality, like we have the temple here, and then we have the gift shop. And so, and it can define more better to the person what a word has contributed as a service and some products or some substance that they can measure for their well-being. And so, but most people who tells the story of voodoo, as I had said to you early, that when we grew up as children, my mom and great parents would tell us, don't go down that road, that old hoodoo person or that voodoo person is down there to put a spell on you. And that to keep you, and that you don't go stray away and get in trouble. There's always some kind of spook in the bush. And so, but that was how I came acquainted about the word voodoo. And then in Chicago, in my spiritual ministry, and there we had this little booklet about Marie Laveau in New Orleans, and that's how I came about understanding about Marie Laveau and voodoo in Chicago, but not knowing I would be in New Orleans with a practical temple, with the the title, Voodoo Spiritual Temple. But something meets you in the abstract before it becomes a reality.
What prompted you, Priestess, to form that temple? What spoke to you and said, I need to do this? And I know, many years ago we're going back on this, but what was it?
Well, it's amazing. And that in 1990, my previous husband, Priestess, who was born in Belize, we had met in Chicago and we came together. And our first idea of putting together a temple was Miriam Williams' Healing Temple. But we came to New Orleans in 1990 and we had worked 3 weeks at the Voodoo Museum. And so when we had attained our apartment, we sit down to put our idea together here in New Orleans. And a little voice swept through my ear, said Voodoo Spiritual Temple. And it was just out of the elements of nature. And so Priest Osborne said, wow, that sounds great. And so as we had done in Chicago, when the next day we called down to the state building to see how to cooperate the title. And so we looked to see how to cooperate the title Voodoo Spiritual Temple. And so we got our charter, everything went forward. And so then in 1991, we received our charter, Voodoo Spiritual Temple. So we've been chartered in New Orleans for now going toward 35 years. Wow. And so it was just an inspirational thought that came from my soul, I suppose, from the elements.
What was the last time you used voodoo? So in whatever form you want to present it in.
Well, maybe being here on the network with you, anyway.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Using thoughts. Remember, it says it could be thoughts. And thoughts can be generated into many ways, practical or impractical.
Well, you're right. Yeah, it's been said many times, and even scientifically, this has been studied, that what we think becomes our reality.
Right.
So apparently, when you were thinking that when you put that temple together many years ago.
Somewhere in Chicago or maybe in Mississippi when I was young, I used to make mud cakes under the big tree. And I never wanted to go and start working with I was 12 years old and my mother said, come in, you're going to have to start learning how to take care of the house. But my silence and sitting alone were the greatest moment. And, sometimes you want to call back those times. But our lifestyle now is like, wow. So it carries us in so many different ways that when we do get that moment of quietness, it's like a sanctuary of joy, of peace, which lasts so short. So as it is with you and the podcast is like a sanctuary of quietness with me, because it takes me into many other levels of thinking that I cannot think with my clients who have so much different worries and problems. But being here with the podcast is like, wow, those thoughts that has been lurking in my mind to talk about and just to share something more greater than people think that this voodoo is just about hearing your problems, bringing a resolution.
Right. Getting revenge.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So you said a word, Priestess, and I believe it's a very important word for all of us. You said peace. You said peace a moment ago. Okay.
Yeah.
What is peace? Or what is peace to you?
Well, peace could be like noise, because as we was talking, then there was a big truck went down the street, but it didn't disturb us. Mm-hmm. But peace is your inner consciousness that can bring you to a sense of harmony through the worst condition. And the worst condition can provide the peace. if you're able to harmonize well with it.
Hmm.
And that's what I do, or many people do, when it comes to serving humanity or people's and their stresses. Uh, I learned when I worked in surgery in the hospital that when we had emergency cases come in, and at that moment, everybody's in this sanctuary of calmness. And it's like the movement. It's like, and we just move so in an order that when the patient is on the table and we're all scrubbed in and everybody assimilated around the table. And it was the most sacred moment that then you're ready and the doctor say, pass this scapular and the womb is open and everybody's like, wow. And so that's to me where
Well,
it's you don't have to stop being active to find peace. You just let your inner self just settle down with this frustration, and the peace has already applied itself within.
oh yeah, you know what? I see some things come clear. Um, and it's funny, when I was a kid, and even as an adult, I would go to church and people would say, peace be with you, peace be with you, peace be with you. And I just repeat it back, yeah, and with you, and with you. I didn't even know what they were talking about. I didn't know what this peace thing was until I realized that I didn't have any peace in my life. But you bring up a really, really good point. It is the ultimate in peace when you find that calmness among chaos. When there's
Right.
like surgery. I mean, look at the stress, look what's on the line at that very moment. But here you are gathered around the operating table, and it's like, it's a feeling of peace. And I call it, I was going through some pretty hectic times a few years ago. And I remember walking outside of this building, looking up at the sky, and finally felt something. And I call it my quiet calm, where it was like, well, good. Things are good. All right. Could a lot of challenges there, but it's all right. Things are all right. Wow. Okay. Finally attained this thing called peace. But to your point, when you feel that among, craziness in your life, you've truly found peace. if you can feel that calm.
Yeah, and there was a time where I were in '93. I was alone, and I went down the stairs and I went too fast, and I broke my leg, and I didn't realize. And then when I come back up, and I'm like, wow, Gunny, you broke your leg. And so I calmed down and I aligned my leg and waited till the ambulance come. And so when they come and they say, well, Miss Williams, how are you? I said, I'm fine. So, even though it's that pain swiftly come, and yet when you come conscious that you are in the faults of what has happened, then you just calm down and put some alignment with it. And by me working within that structure of medical hospital, dealing with patients, and it helps me to calm my clients down that come to me for getting some confirmation with their problems and issues. And so it's just that able to work that order within you, bring you to be the most creative with people who say they're stressed. And why they stressing? Some people say, oh, you're laughing at me. I said, no, I'm not laughing at you. It's better I laugh because you're screaming. And so if I laugh, then we can bring some order in your experience that making you feel so out of touch with yourself. But some people think maybe it's an offense to them. Maybe you're laughing at them. Oh no, why should I cry and scream with you? And you're the person who is a victim of something. And if I've got to bring you from being the victim of it, better I have some joy to extend to you. And so not feeling sorry for you, because a lot of people want you to just sit and feel sorry with them. And you can never heal a person. It's just like with the doctor. If you don't settle the person and then you got to make this wound and clear the pain and create a pain so the person can restruct to his wellness. And so, but it's how it's done to bring the person to feel comfortable to receive the pain or receive the thought that is going to bring him more clarity with the problems or circumstance that he's gone through. And if you can't bring clarity into a person's hysterical act, then that's a bigger problem.
Can you give an example of how you help somebody? And it's all confidential, but let's say somebody came to you with a challenge, and using the temple, using your skills as a priestess, how you supported them?
Wow. Well, I've had many people come and they screaming, they love life, they lost their wow. How I support them, and in one way, I was speaking about maybe just laughter. Sometimes I'm like, oh, shucks. I won't use my nice words, but anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I'll come back and I say, okay, come and sit down. And I have the person to sit down. It's not too bad after all. And so it's a different strategy that it takes to deal with people's, and people's really want you to see them really suffering, and that whatever the circumstance, I tell them, well, let's see what role you played in it, because people want to accuse the other person or party as being the one that created the problem. But I said, well, you was there too.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to bring the individual to himself more than where he wants you to go to the problem. And once you can get the person to himself, then the problem is easily resolved, because no one wants to take responsibility that they were the enhanceable enhancement of how this thing came to be. I was good. I did everything right. Oh yes. So we want to paint ourselves really great as being the perfect individual. We want to be the perfect wife. Well, oh, my husband, he cheated on me. Oh, I said, well, you was at home. Why did he cheat? So, but anyway, those are some of the things that come through the door. So,
Sure. And
there's a lot of things that people bring to the voodoo table.
I'm right there agreeing with you when it comes to the voodoo table. When it comes to relationships, somebody can do something really bad, really, really bad to another person. And I'm not condoning that. Even more so when they know that they're intentionally hurting the other person. However, it does take two. It's a relationship. So somehow, they're both responsible in some way. One may be way more responsible for what took place than the other person. However, it takes two if it's a relationship.
It takes two to tango.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had some people who say their marriage. I have some who keep. It's like having this physical ownership of someone. People like to feel they own someone, that they should have never crossed the line this way. And then when a person can step back and say, well, as my spiritual minister said, well, then if you know it, why don't you have your friend to come home and just run a good hot tub of water and put all the fragrance and say, clean up, boy. Anyway, you would have loved her. But anyway, clean him up. If you're not ready to get rid of them, stop complaining about it.
Right.
And see how you can better love the person. See how to make better conversation with that can bring it in rather than keep worrying about how much is going out. So I had a great spiritual minister who she didn't pull no punches. So, but to tell a person, if you're not ready to let go, stop complaining and see how you can bring better thoughts in your door. talk about something else besides. And
What?
some girls, I said, well, you must love. So maybe you should have went and joined the party. You're always thinking how much the person cheating. Go join the party, you know? And maybe you have a creative rendezvous. You can have an orgy. So,
Words of wisdom from the priestess today.
but anyway,
Yeah.
so there's many ways that we sort of enchant our clients. I do. I don't know if everybody does.
Well, I'm sure in your decades and decades of doing what you're doing, you must have heard pretty much everything. Pretty much everything.
Indeed. In my work, I'm a consecrated bishop in the spiritual church, which that's the opposite of what voodoo is. But it's how to be a minister to people in different ways that they think they have a crisis, because we have to do funeral service. We conduct marriages and to see people become efficient in their life for different purpose. So it's just, you can't sit around and color things so beautiful for people all the time.
Well,
Because
positivity is everything, and I feel there's a lot of positivity that comes from you and what you offer. And kind of about a minute left, and I want to just jump here onto your shop. You have on your website online, you have a shop there with a lot of products that support what you're talking about. I didn't know that you had a physical store there by the temple. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that started 1 month after Priest Oswald passed in March of '95. In April, the shop opened as the second part. It's like dual citizenship. And so the inspiration of a thing must bring other productive science and to support the person's need different than just words. People like to have some oil, they like to have incense, and you make dolls, you make a different collection of ornaments, mojo bags, and all the different ornaments to help support the person's emotions. Because once they get from the table hearing your thoughts, some people want to have something to hold on to. And in the Bible, they said they made prayer cloths, that people can wear prayer cloth on their bodies. And people need to have something like the talismans or scapulars that, and some rock or something that they can say, oh, I got something I can hold on to. And so all of that is part of the divine science of the universe.
Well,
you can't have it one-sided, but it's create commodity, create ways and means to support your way to stay functioning, to stay where you can support people. So
what's the website?
The website is voodoospiritualtemple.org, and people can go there. They can find me, and many of our different experiences. Boy, I've been around the world on different network to Nick Cage, and I was blessed with 5 trips to Russia. And, it's just, you can't count your blessings because they come so full with so much substance. So,
well, gratitude, I believe, is everything, and we should be practicing it as much as possible. And I'm grateful for you for joining us today. Priestess, thank you so much. Thanks for the insight. Confirms a lot of things that I wondered about, and I'm sure others as well. And I appreciate you being here. Looking forward next time we get together. Happy holidays, by the way.
Yeah, that's where I was going. And Merry Christmas to all my friends and our loved ones across the country and the world.
Yep,
exactly. May you ever have comfort and peace in your life.
And there's that word again, peace.
Peace in your life.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll talk soon, okay? Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Can I touch this? Where does sand come from? Is this tree good for climbing? What happens if I mix these two things together? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Storing your guns securely is the best way to prevent family fire, including unintentional shootings. For more information on safe gun storage and ways to keep your family safe, visit endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org.
What do we keep in the attic? What's this thing called? Can I ride my bike backwards?
Like I said, kids are curious. It's up to us to keep them safe. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.